7 deadly mistakes you need to avoid at all costs if you want to rank up. Mistake number 1. Not looking at the minimap. Take a look at your match history. Is it filled with chocolate chips and lost matches? Did you die 7 or more times in most matches? If you're using a roamer or tank that soaks up a lot of damage, this might be acceptable to a certain degree, since it's your job to dedicate your heart and save your teammates on the battlefield. But if you're using any other role, then 7 or more deaths in a match is unacceptable. And I can guarantee to you that you are not paying enough attention to the minimap. And that's a huge oversight from you. I've read thousands of comments claiming they just can't rank up because of their teammates. While this is true to a certain extent, especially in solo queue, things like your own death counter is something that you can handle completely on your own. Even when you have the most shittiest team, it doesn't mean that you have to join the feeding party. There are probably multiple reasons why you died so often in a match. Firstly, you are probably a victim of the enemy's ganks, especially when you're a side laner. Solving this is really easy though. Always check the minimap and see if there's any enemy on it. If you don't see any enemies on it, always assume that they are on the way to beat your ass. Never think something like, they won't come here now, I'm sure. You will regret that thought 10 seconds later. So don't forget to keep an eye on the minimap before, while, and after clearing a minion wave. Those are the most common times where the enemy starts to gank you. Some beginners might feel awkward or dizzy to take their eyes off the middle of the screen. But if you keep practicing your map awareness in every game, you'll soon notice how many times you can avoid being ganked, and that you die less often than before. Quick extra tip: go to the settings, interface and open the custom UI. There you can increase the size of your minimap, which helps you a lot to see what's going on the battlefield. I also have a full settings guide which you can check out after you're done with this video. Wink wink. If you've paid attention to the gameplay, you could see how I always saw Johnson trying to get my nuts, and I always immediately backed out. So I'm not becoming another isekai protagonist. I mean, who want their own harem of anime girls or anime guys, right? Ignoring the minimap is not your only problem though when you die many times. Another huge mistake many players tend to do is mistake number 2. Not knowing the power of your hero. Or let's better say, not knowing the power of your and the enemy's hero. Beginners oftentimes forget that every hero is built different. No, I'm not talking about the item build. I mean that every hero have a unique set of skills, and some of them are stronger than others in different stages of the game. I want to show you a quick real-life example. In this match I use Brody, and my counterpart on the lane is Layla. For this example, you need to know the basics of Brody. Firstly, he deals more damage to an enemy the more marks he places on them. His ult also hits the enemy more often the more marks they have. And secondly, when you hit multiple enemies with his first skill, he places 1 mark more on each additional target he hits. So if I hit all 3 minions like here, the cannon minion get 3 marks because I hit 2 other targets before. I know that I don't have an advantage against Layla on the first 3 levels, because her poking abilities are actually quite good. So for the first 3 levels, I just made sure to receive all gold and XP from every minion, and try to avoid any damage from her, while I also tried to poke her if possible. Once I was on level 4 though, I had the upper hand, because I could easily kill her using my ultimate. I just zoned her out so she couldn't get near the minions anymore to farm. And whenever she came out of her turret, I used my first skill to put some marks on her, and lowered her HP each time a bit more. The only 3 options she had now were wait for her teammates to help her, recall back to the base and miss a lot of minions, plus give me the opportunity to get some sweet turret gold, or try to get the minions on her own and risk her life for it. She chose option 3, which didn't went well for her. While I could collect all minions, get some sweet gold for the kill and some sweet turret gold, she got absolutely nothing. This is why it's so important to know the power of your hero. On the first 3 levels I knew that I can't really do much against her without risking my own life. So why should I risk anything if I can just wait patiently until I reach level 4? Layla had no chance against me afterwards. And this is why Layla is a bad hero and despised by so many. She can't survive on her own against any strong marksman, like Beatrix, Brody, Clint, 1-1 or Woskov. When we both would have our full build though, Layla would probably win a 1v1 against me. So I need to be much more careful against her again. In conclusion, if you know the power of every hero at any stage of the game, you can choose to fight the battles you can actually win and avoid all battles you're more likely to lose. To make the right decision at the right time, you need to have the knowledge, of course, which is why you should make the decision to subscribe now, so you can learn all about that in the upcoming Make All Heroes Cry series that will start soon, where we cover all details about every hero in the game. Talking about decision making, this leads us to the next mistake. Mistake number 3. Let your adrenaline take over your decisions. Even though this sounds so simple, I've seen a lot of mistakes being made because someone lost their cool and just straight up ran headfirst into a wall. In this match, I did my job pretty well. I had a KDA of 5-0-0 after 4 minutes and 30 seconds. We got the first turtle and everything was fine. After 7.5 minutes though, we were down 8-16 in kills and my team kept feeding non-stop. I mean, just look at this. Ah! Here, I could easily run away because Odette was dead anyway, but I decided to go back because I wanted to have blood. This is super poor decision making, and I rightfully died for that. That's what happened when your team runs around like headless chickens and you start to get annoyed about it because you can see the writing on the wall. So, what's the solution for this? The more you die, the richer the enemies get, and the power level will only widen up even more, until it's like you're throwing a sausage into a hallway. Don't look at me like that, I know you understand what I mean. So the only thing you need to do is farm safely. You might be losing the early game, but that's okay. Don't give up yet. Don't let your adrenaline rush into your head and start to pointlessly try to get at least one kill. Or spam toxic shit into the chat blaming your noob teammates. It's understandable when you do this, but it's not helping anyone.
Meanwhile,
the best thing will be to mute the chat completely and focus on farming, and you know what else? Exactly. Killing that one completely out of position enemy, and then continue farming. Now if you're the roamer, you might say, wait, I can't really farm. What should I do? Your job will be to support that one teammate who's not a complete idiot to farm as much as possible. Preferably this guy is playing a hero that is strong in the late game, so a marksman or another late game hero like Aldog or Cecilian. A good player with an awesome roamer can be enough to turn around the game completely. Mistake number 4. Not spending enough time to improve yourself. So, you have learned the basics of the game. You have your one favorite hero in the game, and you believe that this is the best hero for you in Mobile Legends. This hero is handsome, or pretty, or ugly AF, and you want to spam this hero until Mythic. Or maybe this hero already carried you into Mythic. You also bought some shiny skins for this hero, hopefully after you re-downloaded Mobile Legends with Aptoide, because you can get more diamonds for your money with it. The step-by-step guide is in the description box and you know the rest. So the logical thing is to keep spamming that one hero, right? Sadly, this is very wrong. And this is one of the reasons why many players are stuck at a certain level. Improving your gameplay also includes increasing your hero pool. There are more than 100 heroes in Mobile Legends. And that means there's a huge difference between understanding and mastering Mobile Legends as a game. While understanding the basic concept is very easy, mastering every micro and macro play is on a whole different level. If you don't know what micro and macro is your ability to use your hero, like landing your skill shots, having the ability to win your lane against your counterpart, or the KDA you usually have with your hero. So micro is all about your own ability. Macro, on the other hand, is how you use the information the game gives to you, and how well you can perform within your team. This includes the information you receive from the minimap, your ability to judge if it's the right time to attack or to retreat, or which hero you should pick in the draft pick phase. Depending on which heroes your enemies picked, you might have to choose a different hero, because the enemies picked heroes that count as your main. Or maybe because you need to pick a hero that counters their OP hero. For example, when the enemy picked 1-1, you should try to pick a hard counter like 𝐉𝐨𝐢𝐧, or a burst hero with target skills like Saber, Harley, 𝐷 or Eudora. If the enemies picked a tank with AoE stun abilities like Tigreal, Atlas or Lolita, you might want to pick Diggy, because his ult gives all teammates around him a free purify. And this makes these kind of tanks almost useless. Mastering more heroes will make your gameplay more flexible, and flexible thinking is one of the keys to massively improve your win rate. Apart from having a wide hero pool, it's always better to play heroes that are strong in the current meta. There's a tier list video for every patch on this channel, so check them out afterwards. Enough of the self-advertising. Mistake number 5. Making too many wrong decisions. This is basically basically the follow-up to the macro plays I just talked about. This is one, if not the most important aspect of the game that you need to get right. Even if you're not the best at using skill shots, there are enough heroes who perform well where you don't need to perform any difficult skill shots or read a whole book about their abilities. For example, Balmond, Uranus, Esmeralda, Karina, Clint or Atlas. If you don't know though when you have to push a lane, in which situation you should contest or stay away from the Lord, or even when you should try to end the game, you have a huge problem, which will result in many lost games that you should have won. This is what makes it so difficult to improve your macro plays, because there's not the one perfect solution for every situation. Sure, you could say it's a rule that once the enemy's jungler is down, so you're in the 5v4 situation, and your jungler has retribution available, you should try to get the Lord. But even this depends on how much HP you and your allies have. If you all only have half HP, and the enemy's push hero like 𝐉𝐤 or Sun is trying to backdoor you right now, should you all focus on taking the Lord? No, of course not. At least one, but better two of you have to retreat to secure the base. The Lord is not helping you if your base is destroyed. If two of you retreat though, you are facing a 3 vs 3 situation, and it is very easy to gank you and even worse, steal the Lord from you. It's also depending on who is the lead in gold and XP. If you're behind, you can't go into a 3v3 because you will lose this fight most likely. Many of my videos are made to improve your macro skills. Because this is such a huge topic, it can't be covered in one video alone. Every game and every situation is different. So to improve your macro plays, you need to have, firstly, experience. Because only then you can judge what to do in which situation, since you already was in a similar situation. And secondly, the ability to learn from your mistakes. You lost a match? Don't just blame it on your allies and have a look at the replay. Could you have done something different? The great thing about replays is that you can not only see your team, but also the enemies on the map. So you can see, for example, when you judged a situation wrong and pushed too far while the enemies were coming for you. Plus you should watch all ML guides, of course. Still, nothing beats experience and the willingness to increase your knowledge. There's one huge point I want to further point out though, and that's mistake number 6. Forgetting your main objectives. Your main objective is not to get the MVP medal or to get the most kills in the match. Just remember, the first time you installed the game, our lovely Layla taught you that the only way to win the game is to destroy the ugly looking base of the enemy. No matter how many kills you get in a single match, they will just respawn endlessly. If your base got destroyed though, you lose the match. And most likely your temper as well, because the enemies will dance around your base and spam the recall buttons. Stop just idling around or try to get 20 kills and push the freaking turret away when you have the chance. This counts especially for heroes with push abilities, so for all marksmen and for most fighters and assassins. And if you are a mage or a tank main, you can help your teammates massively by camping in a bush so you can give your pushing allies vision. Or you can try to zone out the enemies so they can't defend their turrets anymore. Another objective that is super important is the Lord. I can't understand players in general, but especially junglers who notoriously ignore the Lord, even when their whole team is spamming the request backup button, or even start to write them nice messages. They just keep ignoring it. And better clear the blue buff because I don't know, they get a hard one or wet from it. If a couple of enemies are dead, including the enemy's jungler, and your retribution is available, then it's time to take the Lord. The Lord together with the super minions is always a huge game changer, because this lovely fella helps you massively to end the game as fast as possible, which is the ultimate goal of Mobile Legends. You always have to consider the possibility that your enemy could make a comeback. The longer the match goes, the higher is the chance that your enemy is making a comeback. Once you have your full build, it's time to end this thing. Because now, you're not becoming stronger anymore. Your enemy does become stronger though. At minute 20, every hero usually have their full build. And the respawn takes fucking forever. What means, even when you dominated the whole match, if you lose that one gank at minute 20, you still lose the damn match. And wasted a lot of your time, so ending the game as fast as possible is the most important tip that I can give to you. But I also have another mistake that you have to avoid. Mistake number 7. Not knowing how your items work. Luckily, I have made this video where I explain how all attack item works. And the other items will be covered soon. See you over there!